On the line, it's Conservative MP Sir Geoffrey Clifton-Brown. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning.
Great to be with you.
Lovely to have you join us. Lots to get through. So let's go straight to it. Nearly half of Tory MPs last night, including quite a few Tory leadership hopefuls, decided to, fail to support, either vote against or abstain in the vote on the smoking ban. The big set-piece announcement from the Prime Minister at Tory conference last October. How did you vote?
So I thought long and hard about this. I was torn as a Conservative who believes in freedom of choice, as opposed to the health benefits of trying to prevent some of our real youngsters getting on the vaping and smoking bandwagon, if you like. And I think a lot of people in life would say that they wish they'd never started, and they then find it very difficult to stop. So I voted for it.
So you do. So like actually, an MP we spoke to yesterday, you do believe in freedom and personal choice, but not really.
I do absolutely believe in freedom and personal choice.
Well, you don't, because in a few years' time, the 15-year-olds who are currently referenced in this bill will be 18, and they will be standing next to someone born a day before them who can legally buy products sold legally in this country. As much as you and I despise the cancer sticks, that is nevertheless a legal product, and the person next to them can. Different laws for two different adults in a nanny state Conservative vote. I don't know. I don't think you do believe in freedom, Sir Geoffrey.
I do. That you could have gone much further and banned smoking and vapes for everybody, but that really would have been too autocratic. Let me just take you back, if I may. When I was a young man studying politics, the then government discussed bringing in compulsory wearing of seatbelts. And I don't think there's anybody now that would have wished that the government hadn't done that. And I think in the future, people will be very pleased that actually we protected some of our youngsters from this real health.
No, but this isn't protecting youngsters. This is about adults. It's not about... It's already illegal for under 18s to buy cigarettes. It's not about youngsters. When you're an 18-year-old, you're an adult. When you're a 37-year-old, you're an adult. But you'll still legally not be allowed to buy cigarettes. And I do think that's rather different from seatbelts. So we know seatbelts save lives, but we also know it's a very small imposition. Look, I don't want anyone smoking. But if I were a Tory MP, if I were any kind of MP, I would have voted against this measure as an unconservative measure, as an illiberal measure, like many of your colleagues.
Well, it is about youngsters not being able to buy vapes. So I think that is the start.
You can still, no, it's already illegal for youngsters to buy vapes under 18. It's about disposable vapes. You can still buy vapes. I hate to tell you, Sir Geoffrey, young people are still going to be able to get their hands on fags and vapes.
Well, I'm sure they are, but let's just make it a little bit more difficult.
This is a bill about adults, not youngsters.
Well, whoever.
No, it's not whoever. We have lots of rules that stop under 18s from doing things. But the idea is that when you're over 18, that everyone has the same rights. You're going to have the right to buy a cigarette. I'm going to have the right to buy a cigarette. But you know, in a few years' time, an adult won't have the right to buy a cigarette because they were born since we were born. How on earth can you vote for that and claim you support freedom?
Julia, if I could just sort of word in edgeways. In the future, as the age cohorts progress through the system, older and older people will not be able to buy cigarettes and they will not be able to buy vapes. And frankly, if I've, by voting last night, saved a single person from getting a serious illness, then I think I've done the right thing.
Can I just say, this law does not ban vaping.
No, of course it doesn't ban vaping. But
they will be able to buy vapes then.
They will be able to buy vapes, but not the disposable vapes.
I just want to clarify that you knew what you were voting for. There's a genuine concern about MPs these days.
I knew exactly what I was voting for.
All right.
As I say, as we get through the system, it will become harder and harder for youngsters to buy vapes and buy cigarettes, and it will extend to older and older cohorts.
Okay, what's next on the banned list? Alcohol? Meat?
No, come on.
Sugar? What do you mean, come on? Most of the meddling public health bodies who want to ban cigarettes, I'd love it if no one smoked. Seriously, they've also come after alcohol. They're coming after sugar. They think we're too stupid to see an advert for a McDonald's and not immediately go, I need a burger. I mean, they don't think much of us, the general public, do they?
Well, they do. I think when people are seriously ill and they've reflected whether they would have liked to start vaping and liked to start smoking and wished they'd be able to give it up, actually, if the government had prevented them doing it, then that will be a very useful thing. I mean, the number of deaths each year is caused by smoking is 80,000 deaths. So this is a serious problem for the health service. And I think every every little bit we can do to try and help people make sensible decisions in this respect.
Then why doesn't the law go further? Why don't you just ban smoking today for everybody?
Well, I've just said to you, I think we could have done that.
That's going too far.
We could have done, but it would have been very autocratic to do that. And I think your criticisms then would have been really valid, levelled against me. No, I wouldn't have voted for that, I can tell you.
This Conservative government hasn't been afraid of any autocratic measures in recent years. Just thinking back to 2020, 2021. But look, let's talk about what's been going on in the House of Lords as well. We've had that ping-pong going on for weeks and weeks now regarding the Safety of Rwanda bill. It's gone back to the House of Lords. You know, I mean, we're told by the end of today that'll be over. The ping-pong should be over because the Lords will have to accept the primacy of the elected, accountable House of Commons, and it could be law by Friday. When do you expect planes to get off the ground?
Well, the system that you've described is exactly what every single bill goes through. It's proposed usually by the House of Commons. It's then delayed and revised by the House of Lords. It comes back to the House of Commons, and that's how the system works. Now, I'm hopeful. We've got 4 amendments we're going to consider today. Maybe that will be the last of the ping pong. I don't know. But it is hope that this bill will be law by the end of the week.
And when will planes get off the ground, do you think? We're told in spring.
Well, as you know,
we had a very springy at the moment, to be fair.
As you know, we had a major hearing in the Public Accounts Committee on Monday. There are certain things at the moment the government can't do for legal reasons until the bill is enacted, which hopefully will be by the end of the week. It will then be able to make those decisions. It will be a priority for the government, but I suspect it will take several weeks before the planes actually get off the ground.
And just must ask you about the question we're asking our audience today about Catherine Birballs being dubbed Britain's strictest head teacher, also one of the most successful in terms of getting kids the results that they need to have a great life. She's won a High Court battle against a Muslim people who challenged the school's ban on prayer rituals in the playground. What's your reaction to that High Court victory for Birballs?
Well, I'm absolutely delighted you've asked me about this because I was listening to your previous piece. And those parents knew perfectly well what the rules of that school were. And they sent their children to that school because they know that that school, and particularly the headmistress, presides over a school that provides very good education. So they knew what the rules were. To try and then take your own school to the High Court seems to me to be pretty unobliging, to say the least. And I think that the judge was, as you said in your previous clip, sensible. The decision is sensible, and it will now enable that poor head teacher to get on with a normal job of teaching her.
Should legal aid have been available to the pupil and the pupil's mother to bring this sort of case against their school?
Well, that's a very difficult one as to when you provide legal aid and when you don't provide legal aid. I think in this country we generally regard the judicial system as being there for people who want to take up grievances, and that's why it's there, and the judges are there to make decisions one way or the other.
I think it's a good use of our public money. I know a lot of our audience getting in touch.
I don't think it was particularly, and there are provisions, I think, where the judge could have disapplied the legal aid.
OK. Can I also ask you finally about this conference in Brussels, National Conservatism Conference? It was attended by Nigel Farage. He was on stage when the police in Brussels were ordered by the socialist mayor to shut the conference down. They were already on their 3rd venue, every other venue being told to not allow this conference to take place. The likes of Suella Braverman, Liz Truss, and others speaking at this event. Miriam Cates, one of your colleagues, of course, also on the Tory backbenches, and of course the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. We're told they were, unsavoury far-right characters, and therefore there was going to be a concern about there being some physical rest outside. Was it right for the police to do that?
Well, I think absolutely not. I think this is a very intolerant move by the mayor of that district. I'm very surprised that it happened in a country that believes, as far as I'm aware, in free speech. These people were behaving in a perfectly civilized way. They weren't enticing people to riot or whatever. I think it's a very retrograde move when a major EU country starts to ban conferences like this and clamp down on free speech.
OK, thank you very much indeed. Appreciate you joining us. Sir Geoffrey Clifton-Brown, Conservative MP, thank you for that.